Hey, it's Vanessa, and welcome to a new conversation on energy. This one is called Post-Eclipse Smackdown. So, for those of you that have been tuning into the larger underlying energetics of eclipse season and the energy of April 2024 in general, you're definitely going to want to stick around for this conversation as we do a little sum up and check in around where the energy is at and how to best work with it. However, if you happen to find this video at any other time and you feel called to it, it's likely because there's some info in here that's going to be especially relevant and resonant for wherever you're at and whatever is going on in your world. So keep tuning in. And a couple of quick announcements before I get into the details of the post-eclipse smackdown. The first thing is the Energy Guide program is starting up on May 1st of 2024. The enrollment will be open all of that very first month of May, but I would encourage you to jump in beforehand so you can start when we start on May 1st. And if you can go to vasmith.com/energy-guide, you'll get all the details there. But essentially, it is a really in-depth, comprehensive live group experience where we're going to be looking at the higher purpose for your energy sensitivity, how this really is a new era that we're living in, and how to best finally and fully understand your energy sensitivity and work with it for service. Work with it in a way that allows you to really be a lighthouse for yourself and for others in this world, because that's what is needed right now amongst many other pieces. But to have that foundation dialed in around knowing the energetics and being able to navigate your life energetically is quite helpful. So again, vasmith.com/energy-guide. The other announcement that I wanted to make has to do with an astrology offering. I generally don't have astrology offerings, but there was so much feedback, positive feedback and interest around the share I did having to do with Chiron recently. And so I've been diving deeper, and I know I have my own kind of specialties and interests within the astrological understandings. And so I now have an astrology offering that is specifically around Chiron, your Chiron story, and also a different offering that has to do with your annual house cycle. We all cycle through the 12 houses, but on a different time frame than what we do collectively. And so knowing what that is for you can be incredibly helpful. And I also want to say really potent when it comes to whatever it is that you want to create or transform in your life. So if you go to vasmith.com/astrology, you'll see those offerings there. There's lots more to share. I do have a kitchen sink offering, which is pretty much like almost everything that you would need for your spiritual transformation. And you can also find that on my website. Just simply go to VA Smith, and then you'll see the kitchen sink highlighted there. That's not always available. That's there until August 1st or until I hit capacity. So if that's something that interests you, then please go check that out. All right. Last but definitely not least, I want to welcome you here. If you are new or returning, really glad that you're tuning into the conversation and starting to have energy and intuition become an even louder presence in your life, even more of a foundation for you. And every time that you tune into these conversations, that's what actually happens. You're opening up to the more of who you are. And that's the deep awakening and remembering that humanity is going through right now. We're searching for this more through the lens of purpose or through the lens of prosperity or whatever it is, but it's essentially wanting to get back in touch and embody our true nature. And so I'm glad that you're here. Please do like, comment, subscribe, click to get notifications, share with your friends, all that good social media stuff that gets us out to more of my people. And with that, I'm just going to go ahead and get started on the topic, post-eclipse Smackdown. So to kind of circle back to where we started with the eclipse energies, I've recently had a few conversations that I've put up on the channel that have to do with awakening and ascension and eclipse energies, and from different perspectives, right? And so that's on the channel. And for me personally, I knew many people in my world from a client sense and from a more friend personal sense that were really feeling super challenged with the eclipse energies, because it did shake a lot of things up that were underneath the surface, and we're all uniquely designed, right? So however the collective energies are moving, it's going to land with us differently. For myself, it had a very grounding energy. Actually, it was very helpful. I really, really appreciated it. I'm used to being a little more knocked over by these big energies that are moving through. But for me, again, it was like very welcome and really a nice experience. I was highly organized, highly productive, and yeah, it was fabulous. It was great. And so if that wasn't your experience, not to worry, because like all things, they pass. So even if you're riding the wave and you're feeling good about everything, there is a time when like the wave crashes down. So um, I just wanted to recap and touch base, and would love to hear from you in the comments. How was the eclipse for you? Did you notice anything? Did you watch it? Did it evoke anything in you? Did anything feel like it got like really cleared up for you? Do you feel different than how you did pre-eclipse? So, just it's kind of good to take the pulse and check in internally to see how it lands with us. Because the more we know ourselves, then the easier it is to navigate our personal realities as well as the collective reality. Which leads to the point of this conversation and share, which is about the post-eclipse Smackdown. So oftentimes what happens is when there's a lot of collective energy moving, cosmic energy moving, and it's coming into our field of perception in a way that the frequency is increasing, the vibration is increasing. What that can tend to do is pull out a lot of patterning within our system that was of a lower frequency. So there's many different ways to talk about it: limitation-based programming, where you feel stuck, lower density, discordant. Again, you kind of find the language that's going to work for you. But the Smackdown tends to come, it's kind of like when we hit our regular life again, right? It's when we go back and we have this sort of the buzz of going up or the crash of going down and the intensity of that. But then there's that middle ground where we're going back into our daily reality and we're different. And yet our environment's not necessarily different. And generally the relationships are the same. But we've changed on the inside. We are now perceiving and experiencing our reality different because we're different. And so how to integrate that post-eclipse Smackdown where you're back in your reality and you're wanting to try and match with the changes that have taken place inside of you. So that's one direction to consider when we're talking about the post-eclipse Smackdown. Another is just navigating the highs and the lows of this incredibly potent energy time. So again, I'm talking to the people that are sensing energy. I'm talking to the people that are beginning to either feel energy more deeply, or you've always been energetically sensitive and now you're able to articulate your experience with more ease, right? Like I know when I was growing up, I certainly felt and experienced a lot of things energetically, but I didn't necessarily have the language or a context for relating to or understanding what I was going through. Now I do. Now I have more of a like a container that is like very cozy that kind of like, it holds me in place as I navigate all the different energetic changes. But not many people have that, right? So there's many that are awakening right now and noticing more of the energy impact on their system, but they don't quite have the context or the language. And this is again why I talk about this being a really important time for energy guides to start coming forward. That's why we see a rise in people being energy readers and talking about energy, and it's just going to get, I want to say, a more diverse landscape of voices will continue to rise, more messengers around this time, and being able to translate and articulate what's going on, those will continue to rise. And that's good because, still at this point, there's a lot more of the people that are just waking up to this, just beginning to sense energy in their system, just hearing the voice of their intuition, and they're looking around going like, what's going on? How do I navigate this? And so as it relates back to the post-eclipse smackdown, is that, when there is a rise up in frequency, there can simultaneously, we lived in a world of polarity right now. So there can be the simultaneously like smack down when you hit the ground. And so that's another way in which you might be finding yourself uh, feeling a little more weightedness of this particular time. So if you went high and then you went low, give yourself the gift of context, and instead of personalizing it and thinking, oh my gosh, like what was that? Like, I feel awful now. And what was that? Why did that happen? Just remind yourself that this is part of the nature of how energy works. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is to learn how to stabilize your system, to regulate your own nervous system, and to really keep giving yourself context that this is how energy moves and affects us. And our job is to take it less personally, so we don't, we aren't hard on ourselves, or we aren't necessarily like attacking verbally or otherwise other people, but just say, okay, wait a minute, I'm noticing these big shifts within my energy. Let me just remind myself that we're in an incredibly dynamic and sometimes chaotic time energetically. And this is important because unless you're at that stage where you are using energy as the filter through which you perceive all of reality, it can be very easy to forget that these big movements are happening right now because of the fact that we tend to just be more physically oriented, right? Like if we don't see the cut on our skin, we're like, oh, we're fine. But if you start to look through the lens of energy and you see, oh, wow, this person's walking around and their top half is disconnected from their bottom half, or when you start to see how things are representing in the energy form, and what that looks like from a chaotic perspective, but also from the visionary perspective, right? We've got the wound and then we've also got the vision, and both are happening simultaneously. And when you learn to tune into energy, that post-eclipse smackdown or any kind of energy smackdown won't have the same impact on you. And the steadier that you become, then the steadier the whole grid becomes, the more stable it becomes, right? Because we're all down here in physical form holding this vision of a new earth paradigm, how reality can be. And it's being birthed through us, right? The vision is the energetic architecture. We're holding the vision. We keep holding the vision as we're navigating our lives, holding the vision as things open up, holding the vision as things break down. And so as we keep holding the vision, the more steady and stable that we are, the more steady and stable that vision is, the further that energy imprint can really anchor into the physical reality and become the physical reality. And so, and then that's how it happens. It's through us. It's a build process and it's a team effort. And so I'm sharing this. I know I've probably said it a million times before, but I'm sharing it here because of the fact that when there's an energetic smackdown of any kind, it can take a toll on us psychologically and physically, certainly energetically. I mean, that's a complete duh, of course, energetically, but we're again more used to looking at our reality or experiencing it through the lens of psychology or through the lens of physicality. And so it can take its toll. And if we can contextualize that there is uh, a bigger shift that we are quite literally moving through, and it's moving through our system, and we are moving through it in the world. And energetically, if we could just take a moment to perceive the larger shift, both the beauty and the challenge from an energetic perspective, we can go, oh, okay, I now release myself from being so weighed down from whatever I think is happening right now. Like, I don't have to, bark at this person in my life, or I can just withdraw a little bit and take care of myself or tend to whatever I need. So, um, the last piece I want to share with you about any of those smackdown energies, post eclipse or otherwise, is it's going to be a bit of a paradoxical request or statement, but don't be so human about it. You're more than human. Your soul having a human experience. Your human experience is one little slice of the totality of who you are. But when we are so consumed with our human reaction to what is happening, it can feel like we are very, very bogged down, and that's all there is to reality. And it's not. That's not what's happening. And the more that you can widen your container and your perspective and your consciousness around the more that you are, the more loving you are to your cute little human avatar, and the more loving you are to all the other cute little human avatars, the more forgiving you are to all the human avatars that you might not jive with very much, right? Because we see, oh, there's more to this. And so it helps us cultivate a feeling of being objective. It helps us cultivate a sense of neutrality, be more forgiving, more empathetic, more compassionate. It also gives us a sense of ease, a sense of possibility. There's you are multidimensional by nature. And so when you learn to navigate the world from that perspective and that lens, you will automatically see a solution where you didn't see one before when you were just human. Or just focusing on I'm only human. There's a lot of constriction, a lot of like tightness that happens within our system. We really like strangle the life force out of ourselves when we are deep in our own suffering. And it's not that the suffering isn't valid, it's just that it's one perspective of reality. And the more that we can hang on to the broader picture and the light that we are, the more we can bring light to whatever dark situation or dark experience we might be having. And by dark, I do not mean evil. I just mean like something that is challenging you. Okay. We need to disassociate those two, words, darkness and evil. A lot of really rich healing can happen in the dark. And then the opposite statement I want to give you is be so very human about it. Be so human about it. And what I mean by that is what makes human beings so lovely and so unique is the heart, that we have, and the emotional connection. We come here for the emotional experience through the physical vessel, right? Through the physical landscape. But we're here for the emotional experience. We're here for like seeing what is energy like when we put it into a physical vessel, and what emotions does that evoke, right? The level of nuance and specificity when it comes to our very diverse and very rich emotional experiences, like it's the cake, it's the frosting, it's the it's like all the things. That's why we're here. And our heart and the heart of the earth, just rearrange the letters. Earth, heart, same thing. That's what's going through an evolutionary ascension process right now. It's a heart expansion process. That's what's happening right now. There's lots of details around that, obviously, but at the heart of it, it's about the heart. And so be in your heart, be human about whatever ups and downs you might be going through, how the energy might be affecting you, where you might be sabotaging yourself, where you're supporting yourself, who's on your support team, what's challenging you and what isn't, what's giving you grace, right? Be in your heart about it. That's what it means to be human. That's what being human is about. If you see anything else that's happening, and believe me, I know there's lots and lots of evidence in the world to indicate otherwise. And yet, when we tune in to any of these other storylines that are going on, whether they're true or not true, the intention underneath it all for you is really to get back into your heart, which is the seat of your power. It's the seat of your light. It's the seat of the way forward. And it's that energy united with others who are also in their hearts that turn whatever is dark in our world around. And so be both. Don't be so human about it, and be so very human about it. That's how you work with these Smackdown energies. And just to be fully transparent, I did get the Smackdown. I got the Smackdown, like I was solid for the week of the eclipse. And then over the weekend, it hit hard. And I said, you know what? I need to do a video on the post-eclipse Smackdown, because I'm just getting beat up left and right. And so these were some of the pieces that I shared with clients and also shared with myself to help elevate out of that particular frequency and give me some perspective to work with. So I hope it does the same for you. All right, with that, I'm going to say thank you so much for tuning in. Please, again, do like, comment, share, click to get notifications, subscribe, all the good social media stuff that gets us out to more of my people. Really do appreciate you tuning in. And I'll be back again soon with another conversation on the energies. Take care.